Dang it.
I tweeted prematurely before you, so I suppose that counts. It's probably live right now. Restream says it's sending data, but YouTube's sometimes faster than Restream. So, Mitch, do you want to sing a beautiful song for, it looks just like J-Mac at this point in time.
Which one?
Oh, any song you want. Any song you want to sing for J-Mac.
Uh-oh.
J-Mac.
All right. Hang on a second. Let me think about that.
In the
we
meantime,
live yet?
Welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Campfire podcast. This is the Professor.
And Mitch.
And today we've got Eric Rose. You know him as at Second Realm on Twitter. And this is going to be a fun dive down the NFT rabbit hole. And Mitch, I understand, has a song for you.
I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Yeah, whatever.
That was the song for Eric while we were getting our shit together on the back end, getting our Zoom
That's
meeting
right.
going. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Eric, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, seriously, it's
Absolutely.
been a long time coming. We haven't been able to pester you today with any unfortunate pin posts or anything like that. So we'll just have to do it verbally. So most importantly,
it's a daily reminder. So
yeah, daily almost. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's sort of a weird situation, but it works out. What's your favorite ghost story? You got a ghost story for us?
Not like a ghost story, but I am a sensitive, and I do connect with spirits and feel energies and things like that. So
Nice.
they've been a part of my life for a long time. I grew up in a house where the previous tenant murdered his wife and then killed himself via gunshot suicide. So we're starting this campfire off real nice,
real upbeat, real happy.
and so his spirit hung around for a long time. I recently was able to pass him along, but it had been like 30 something years that he hung around.
Damn. That's crazy. I do a lot of artwork out of the ghost towns. We've got a lot of ghost towns here in Montana, and I like to go take pictures and just get some sources and stuff out there. And every once in a while, some shit's a little weird, and you can definitely feel differences in buildings. I haven't seen anything per se, but you can feel differences. And I've seen things that are just like, I mean, yeah, maybe it's wind, but also, did that door really shut that hard on its own? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's I think everybody has their own interpretation of what the spirit realm is like.
Right.
I certainly do. I think we are a massive giant ball of energy, and it's constantly passing through us and around us, and we're feeding each other energy back and forth. So I think it's just part of that energetic realm, not necessarily a being like you and I who's like talking to me. It's just sort of energy that I feel.
No,
It's like a
it's funny you
redistribution of
mentioned
energy.
it's funny you mentioned energies, Eric, because that's something in the last probably 2 years I've really tapped into and made myself more aware of the energy and the frequency at which we all vibrate at.
Yes.
And how those frequencies kind of draw in others with like frequencies, and it brings people together that are supposed to be together for a reason. And it's pretty intense and pretty amazing when you actually tune into those energies, and it's wild how you feel people's emotion, you feel people's just the energy sphere that surrounds them. And I don't know, it's pretty deep and pretty moving. I mean, and having conversations about vibrations and how we're all on different frequencies and all that stuff really starts to sink in. There's no coincidences in life is another one. So
yeah, the thing about energy too is it can be used to drive people away, right? So it's not just about attraction, right? It's about repelling too. Like if you're just giving off bad juju and you're an angry person, you're putting that kind of physical energy out in the world. You ever come across someone, you don't really know them, but you're physically, you become tired after talking to them for 5 minutes, their energy.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So those kind of people I try to avoid. I think that they give off the kind of energy I'm not interested in being around.
we call those the vampires.
Yeah,
Don't
Yeah,
feed
bingo.
the vampires.
Don't feed the vampires.
Exactly. Before we go further, is my mic volume okay? We should
Yeah,
check that.
man, it's
Up
beautiful.
just a touch
All right.
more, but
Yeah, up a touch more. How about now?
that's
Yeah, it's
better.
even better.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's so much better even as when you started than a lot of the connections that we get, because you're kind of set up like us. You do podcasting and all that stuff. So
Right.
a lot of times, as you're familiar with, you get somebody on here and it's just like, hold on, we got to go. Like, I can't hear you. Do you have a microphone?
Yeah.
You got a string and a cup over there. Like, it's a lot of fun.
You sort of I just roll with it. I haven't, luckily
100%.
enough, I haven't had a whole lot of bad connections. So I've been kind of good in that realm, but
Yeah, internet is a struggle for us on occasion. Actually, we had only time we really had a real connection issue was when we were trying to use Anchor. And I think that was back on episode 5 with the McAfees, like way back when. And that was, man, we had to get like 4 or 5 times. We rescheduled it like twice.
You use Anchor to distribute or Anchor to like actually have the record the conversation?
We currently use Anchor for distribution,
I do too,
but we used it initially. We tried to record the first 2 or 3, the first handful of episodes on it, because the person that Pandora's podcast we went on, and she was using Anchor for uploading it, so that was kind of what we dove into, and just the recording just was terrible. It's awesome for syndication, just sucks for everything else.
We went to a different one that was just amazing.
Ringer.
Ringer, but then it started having issues and we stopped using it.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot. We had a lot of weird connection issues with Ringer that I totally forgot about, where they just couldn't get connected to the call at all. The audio was amazing though. Like, I was super happy.
Incredible.
But I found Zoom to be the best tool for me. I like to see people when I talk to them, and even though my podcast doesn't distribute the video, it is a better conversation when I could see your face and we're communicating back and forth.
I'm the same way. I gotta see the person I'm talking to and feel that body language, and
body language. I could feel your energy through the screen. I could tell. It's just easier that way.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this real quick.
Shoot.
What's your beverage of choice when it comes to chilling out, relaxing?
I thought that was what'd you call it?
Pepsi, water,
milk spritzer.
No, definitely not a milk spritzer. My drink of choice is certainly champagne.
Okay.
Or sparkling wine. I'm not a big fan of Prosecco of that variety. So pretty much like California sparklings or like champagne from, France.
Yeah. Awesome.
Like
the bubbly stuff.
That's what in fact,
I love bubbly wine.
That's what I'm drinking right now.
Who doesn't like bubbly wine? I mean, it probably spawns from like the excitement of New Year's Day
beer
when you're a kid and your parents would bring home the Martinelli's like sparkling cider.
The sparkling cider.
Yeah,
yes.
I love that stuff. And the grape, when every once in a while you spring for the grape one, the cranberry. That's good shit, man. Yeah,
that's good stuff right there.
Good memories. Watching the ball drop, sipping on some Martinelli's and some crappy like mozzarella cheese sticks.
Don't talk food, man. Come on, I haven't eaten.
You haven't eaten. I haven't either, so it's only fair. It's only
fair. Pigs in a blanket. That's what we had.
Yeah,
pigs in a blanket. Nice. Those are my favorite.
Dude, okay, so while we're on the topic of food, I've just got to tell you this quick story because it's hilarious. We were at the office last night doing some late night work. Rhonda was with me. We were just chilling out in the office and I was getting some work done and we decided to get some nachos. So we go to this place called the 19th Hole down the road and they have half-ass nachos and big-ass nachos. And you don't ever want to buy the big-ass nachos unless you got about 24 people with you. Shit you not. Like it's massive. The half-ass nachos, and I'm not exaggerating on dimensions here, is literally about 13 to 14 inches by, it must be more than 24 inches.
Oh my God.
In a foil tray. It's fucking $20 flat, $20.
Oh, and that's a 3-day meal right there.
Yeah, it seriously is. We put it in the oven, heat it up. There was a guy that showed up while I was there for the cleaning to do the cleaning work. And I was like, dude, you want to plate of nachos? We loaded them up. Like, it didn't make a fucking dent. Huge ass plate of nachos, no dent.
Oh, damn. Now put that on the calendar because when I come out there to Montana, we're going to the 19th hole.
Yeah, and we're getting a big ass nachos because why the fuck not?
Why the
They're
fuck
only
not?
35,
exactly.
dude.
You got to go big or go home.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Cool. All right. So speaking of going big and going home, let's go home on the wrong sort of wheel. So we're going to ask you this question that we've asked a couple other people and got some interesting answers. If you could change the tires on your car, or should I say, if you had to change the tires on your car to anything other than rubber as a material, what would you change it to and why?
Oh, first reaction immediately was like wood. And only because I thought of the old Old West movies.
Mhm.
You know, just one of those spindle tired wood
Yeah.
wheels. That was his first reaction, but it's not a logical one, you know.
It doesn't need to be logical. I like that
Yeah.
though. I mean, it would kind of
Wood
give
works.
that old wagon feel. I fucking love wood though.
I
Like,
can
there's
make
something
Yeah.
wood
exciting
wheels
about it.
then.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
Yeah.
easy. I can make wood wheels. I'm a
Wood
car-
wheels and wood tires. That's
Right.
perfect.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Just
You
don't
know,
want to go off roading in them.
No.
I mean, it depends on how you make them.
Mm,
Now
Yeah.
let's I'm waiting for
Nails,
Mitch to build some
spikes.
yeah, right, off-road wooden tires for me. 31 1050 R15, please.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll put that in the mill here pretty
But
quick.
What
I
do you
would like you to
drive?
use screws. That's
What-
on my 86 Chevy K10.
Okay.
So yeah, I've got several vehicles that I jump in and out of because I have a problem with that. It's currently out of commission though right now, so I shouldn't say I drive it. I used to drive it up until about a year ago. The engine blew up, but I've got one rebuilt and it's in it right now, and I just got to finish hooking it up. So
Nice.
you know, I tweeted it like 6 months ago and was like, I'm putting my engine in today, and then I got most of the way through, and then I've been so sidetracked I haven't even had a chance to wrap it. So, and then I got a 52 Chevy Styleline project that's on the back burner. That's like, I really want to get that going this summer, so I'm debating whether or not I want to do my truck or the car first.
Mhm,
Car needs
yeah.
more work. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It's one
I
of
have
those things.
a,
What about
a
you?
dream vehicle for me is and this is so cheesy, but it's a 65 Mustang.
Nice.
Actually, it's a
Cheesy.
lie. 68 Mustang, fast top, you know, fastback.
Yeah.
Fastback. Yep.
No, I don't want louvers on the windows though. I think that looks ugly.
You don't want an Eleanor?
No Eleanor. No.
That'd
no.
be a 67, I guess, but
Yeah.
close enough.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I love the old Mustangs and like the late 60s and the early 70s, kind of into like the Boss era. I mean,
The bosses.
The Boss
yeah, love them.
302 was the shit back in
Yeah.
'69.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was an awesome car.
Good
All
time.
right, so Eric, we are a crypto podcast
Yes,
here.
we
So
are.
let me ask you
we don't
this
need to talk
question.
about crypto. What's crypto?
NFTs
ghosts.
and cryptocurrencies. What got you started in cryptocurrencies to begin with?
Yeah.
And was it NFTs or is NFTs an evolution of your entrance into cryptocurrency?
Yeah, NFTs is a total evolution of a few things, but I got into cryptocurrency first. Started hearing about Bitcoin, you know, like 2010, 2011, around there, but didn't do anything with it. I remember setting up an old computer to mine back in the day. But it was funny internet money at the time, so I didn't know anything or do anything about it, and I just got rid of that computer. So I don't know. I think I had some Bitcoin on there, not sure what or how many. And then it wasn't until 2017 that I stayed apprised of it. I've been in tech for a while, doing website design and development for a long time. So, you sort of, hear whispers and are involved in this kind of tech sphere of knowledge. And about 2017, I started getting into the tech a little bit, learning more about it, not really investing. And then about 18, I finally invested in Chainlink and Bitcoin, Litecoin, some of those things. And it's just been a whirlwind of an experience ever since. And
Oh my
then,
God, right?
yeah, it's crazy. And then around late 2018, I just typed in crypto and art, like just assuming that I would see like memes or something like that. And I found this entire world where they were talking about NFTs, and that made no sense to me. I had no idea what the acronym NFT meant, but I saw crypto art being hashtagged a lot, right? So that was my dive, and I fell down that rabbit hole, just like Alice, except I haven't gotten out, and I've just been going deeper and deeper ever since.
Awesome.
You talk about the term crypto art. Let's I remember maybe a year ago you were pushing for the hashtag DArt, trying to get away from the crypto. And I latched onto that, and I hashtagged that son of a bitch so hard, and it just never really took off.
No.
But tell us a little bit about your philosophy behind that.
Yeah, well, the philosophy was simply the idea that the term crypto is a barrier to entry for some people. And so how can we demystify the idea of crypto art and cryptocurrency? They did that by basically rebranding it as DeFi, right? And I thought, well, let's borrow that and try to rebrand crypto art as decentralized art or DArt, and make it a little bit more accessible, less crypto focused, because I think when most people hear about crypto, they first think cryptography and hacking. And that's just my assumption based on my own personal experience and some conversations. Um, and so I was just thinking about what it would be like if my mother was going to get interested in this space, and if she saw the term crypto art, which she has, but when she saw it, she's like, "Oh, I don't know about this. This seems, scammy." Would be not the way she would say it, but basically the feeling that she would get from it.
Yeah.
And so my whole goal was basically to just try to reintroduce the concept of art in the in a manner of decentralization, not necessarily in its relationship to cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and that's a really good point too. I mean, touching on that aspect of psychology, we kind of we talk about that a lot on the show when it comes to cryptocurrencies in general. Like that, there's that initial perception, whether it's generated by the media that people consume, or if it's generated by what word they interpret. If they hear crypto, like you said, maybe it's something like hacking or secretive, or
Totally.
it sounds like that, and so that's weird or concerning to them. And it's the internet; it's a scary place. We don't want to get to that side, or they've just heard bad things about Bitcoin. Whatever. It's hard to get past that psychological barrier sometimes for people.
It is.
And you start talking about Bitcoin, and they just turn the switch off, and they stop listening.
The thing that I like, the thing that I think worked with the term NFT is that most people had never heard of it or seen it before. So for them, the acronym was becoming branded based on the information they were hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it did, the acronym NFT actually did what I wanted to do with D-Art, which was sort of remove the term crypto from the art experience. And for that, I'm happy. I just think the NFT is a terrible descriptor.
It really is. I mean, it's really easy for people to get past that initial barrier with the term NFT because it's simple, it's new, it doesn't mean anything else to them.
It means zero.
And it's not tangible, but it's tangible. It's more tangible in a way that they can see art, right? Like you can't really see Bitcoin. You can if you want to get technical about it. But I mean, if somebody off this, is just looking on Twitter and they see NFT and they see a pretty picture and they're realizing that art sells, they can put these things together in their head. But then when they start digging deeper, they're like, okay, non-fungible token, the fuck, and that's the brick wall right there. So like you say, it's not a great descriptor. It's a great conversation starter almost in a way, or it's to dip your toes in. But then, we need better conversation pieces and small, simple words that we can say that are not non-fungible token. Something that makes more sense to people. Well,
fungibility, right, should be relatively easy to explain, but most people have never heard it before.
Right. It's the concept's easy, but even once you explain it, it seems like it doesn't mean anything to them. Like, cool.
I use dollar bills and licenses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dollar bills are fungible, licenses are non-fungible, right?
Yep. It's people have an easy time kind of getting that concept of like, well, this is unique and this gets mixed in and they don't matter which one is which. And so that's kind of a good way it's a good way of describing why it works for art and why it doesn't matter for cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's still just kind of, it doesn't go much farther than that until you start getting really, you have to leave the fungibility discussion aside entirely to explain what an NFT really is. Cause that's not really, it's a hard thing.
And I think that's going to happen. I think what's going to eventually occur is the NFT experience and the knowledge that we're all taking in today will become sort of processes and protocols that occur in the background. And we're just going to interact with UIs, and most people aren't going to need to know that or care that it's a ERC 1155 or an ERC 721 or whatever fucking protocol that they want to use in the future. Exactly. They're just going to care that they have this digital collectible. Like I was hanging out with my nephews and nieces today, and my nephew was playing a game, something Animal Farm, or so I don't remember what it was. And he was upset about these pets, these digital pets that his sister had more of, yet he had more rare ones. And so for him, like I could see, this concept of digital asset ownership already being, imprinted on kids as young as 8, 9, and 10. So I keep saying this, but in 10 years, these 8-year-olds and 18-year-olds that are out here sort of playing in the game world with in-game currency and digital asset ownership, they're going to be making the business decisions. So we're moving in that direction, whether the boomers like it or not.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
And there's that
Silence. We
awkward
lost
silence.
Mitch. I thought Mitch
Oh yeah,
was-
sorry. I
No,
don't.
that was me. That was my fault. I was distracted. I had a squirrel moment. You know how those squirrels are. Things. Oh shit. So, all right. So you've been in cryptocurrency since 2018 is when you really started investing.
Yeah.
And you named off some really good coins there.
Mhm.
Do you have one that you FOMO'd into that really didn't pan out that you wish you wouldn't have?
Yeah, lots. Salt. Do you
Salt,
remember? Do you
Oh,
remember
yeah, I
Salt?
remember Salt.
What's the one from Korea? ICO.
A lot of them.
So many. Yeah.
I know.
Narrow
I
that
can't
down.
I can't. No, you know, I can't think. I can't think. I think it's token symbol was IC, not ICO. Maybe it was ICO. I don't know, it doesn't matter.
There's so many shit coins out there. It was incredible.
But you know, I kind of got super lucky because I tried to stay mostly blue chip. I didn't try to FOMO into a lot of stuff. So any of my big investment was in Bitcoin and Litecoin. And then I got super, super lucky in Chainlink. So I got into Chainlink after like when it dropped to like 50 cents. And then I just kept buying all the way till $20, I think. And then eventually that sustained my art career for the first year.
Wow.
Was my investment in Chainlink. Because I had to build an audience. And so and I really wanted to give it my all. So I basically reinvested all my earnings in Chainlink back into my art career and myself. So I didn't have to work the first year after, because, well, I mean, I'm telling half a story. So I had a mental breakdown in 2008. Was it 2018? I don't know. Maybe it was 2018. And it was 6-month mental breakdown, 2019. That's when it was. And so I was on like work disability, and then I ended up leaving Twitter. And so I was collecting unemployment and sort of trying to find my space and place in this world, and wasn't touching any of my crypto investments, you know. And then Chainlink started taking off little by little. So I started pulling more off and realizing, hey, I can give a go at this art thing. Art had been a part of my life I went to college for art twice, 3 times.
Nice.
And I didn't succeed. I failed at every time. But you
didn't fail because you tried.
Right? Yeah.
So
well,
I mean, failure to me is not trying at all. To me, that's failure. Everything else is learning.
Yeah,
right?
I try, you know, today as a 43-year-old man, it's much easier to believe in that philosophy.
It is
because I've lived.
Older, for sure.
Yeah, we've lived, right? I still live with the regret of being a 20-year-old though, and not being mindful enough to make those decisions. And so like there's this, and I know there's this, like, I'm covering my face, but there's this battle, you know, between like the kid in me and the wise adult. And so I still struggle with some of that. But that's more of like a personal struggle than career focused stuff, you know.
But I mean, you know, to look back when we were 20, I mean, we had this thing, it was called testosterone that totally overtook our brain. And to really understand what we were doing in life, there is no effing way a 20-year-old in any era knows what the hell they're doing. And so it's all trial and error at that point.
It is.
And there is no failures in life other than not doing it, as far as I'm concerned. We make mistakes.
Absolutely.
We don't succeed. But because we didn't succeed, we look at what we did and we do it better the next time. And that's called evolution, and that's called growth, and that's called learning. So there are no failures in life other than inaction.
Yeah, one of my big saying is the only wrong decision is indecision.
There you go.
Right. And that's really something that I take for myself, because there are moments in life when I can be like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And then I have to remind myself,
Yep.
just make a fucking decision, because you can always just go back. Right. We're sort of, I think when we're going through the public school system or any school system, we're sort of taught there's these steps you're supposed to take. Yeah, you get good grades. You go to get on the honor roll, which I never did. All that kind of stuff, right? And then you reach all these goals. Then you get a house and a job. You get married and blah blah blah. All that's fucking marketing bullshit.
The fucking indoctrination of people.
Yes,
That's all that is.
Yeah.
To live in a manner and means in which is designed for us to do so, not free thinkers, not to be entrepreneurs, not to go do our own things, but to live that American fucking dream of get up every day and go to fucking work, make somebody else a shit ton of money, get a menial paycheck, try to make ends meet, and do it all again the next fucking day.
That's right.
Until you're 65 fucking years old.
Right. And then you're too old to enjoy fucking retirement at that point. So it's like, what the fuck? They got this shit backwards, man. I'm telling you.
No, they've got it right. They've got it right, because basically they've got people doing the dirty work
right
for
them.
Exactly. I'll never forget. I got into art school, and the first thing my mother says to me, she was so proud. She's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you got into college. But what are you going to do with an art degree?" Right? I had no answer, because we're not taught about the possibilities of what an art degree can do for us out in the world. I strongly believe that the humanities are not only like the thing that people, especially when we're thinking about STEM and stuff like that in education, is a big focus. The humanities are getting left out, but the humanities are what bring the humanity
together
into the products and the places and the processes and the experiences that we live in. If you don't have a base in that, you sort of I think you're starting off in a rough place, and you're only going to be a drone, because you're taught to be a tradesman, not a free thinker.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. And that is so spot on. And it's frustrating. And to think of all these things that are indoctrined into our youth as they grow up, right? And taking so many of those humanities and education, as far as like the arts, music, vocals, pen and paper, painting, all those things, jewelry class, metals class, shop class, all those things we did with our hands. And now everything's on the computer. And I think our youth is suffering for that, because that's all they know is this digital age and this digital thing. And I'm passionate about our past. I'm passionate about how we, even the professor, you, myself, we grew up in this world where we did hands-on stuff. And today there isn't that much hands-on stuff being done.
Yeah.
And it's really appalling to see the lack of physical energy that people are willing to put into anything. And I don't know, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but it's all about those humanities, right? And it's all about, I think, humanities, and it brings together people, and you look at things differently than you look at when you're looking at a screen. You look at the individual, you look at the heart, you look at the soul, you look at the person, and you look at everything involved with that. So
there's an aspect of critical thinking that you do in the study of humanities, and the study of the great novels, the great histories of art, right? And that gets lost. When we're strictly focused on these trade mentality subjects. And I love math. I'm really strong in math. I have a background in programming. Like, I get it. But I think what makes me more successful as a I don't want to say human, as a nerd, in society is that I do have the humanity background. So I could sit here, even though I'm an introvert, have really interesting conversations with people about subjects like art or literature, or you want to talk about fucking code? Let's talk about code. I hate code, but I can read the fuck out of it. You know, I feel like that you need to have that well-rounded experience. You know, where we kind of get focused on the being an expert in one sort of subject, and I think that's okay. But I like the idea of being sort of multifaceted. That's what works for me.
Part of this complete breakfast.
Say that again.
Part of this complete breakfast.
Well balanced
yes.
breakfast.
Well,
Yeah.
Hey, it depends on the commercial. General Mills, it's probably
Yeah,
all
right.
different. But I mean, yeah, it's like that. It's totally that balance. That's like the biggest thing, like in a developer situation. The hardest part of that job is the communication, right? Of like both ways of what we need you to do. And then, okay, now I've done this and here's the problem of why I can't do that. Like if you don't understand code, you're not going to get it. And if you don't understand people, you're not going to get it.
Well,
Like,
yeah. My favorite conversation with an engineer when I was working at places like Twitter and Google was, well, that's not how it's designed. I'm like, yeah, that's how they're using it though.
Yeah,
like
that's the point.
You've got to wrap your head around that's how they're using it. I know that's not how you designed it, but that's sort of the mental models that we have to struggle against is the user experience, right? Who will use a product any which way they can figure out how to use it. And engineer who, not all engineers, but there are some engineers who like have this tunnel vision of this is the way. It's very systematic, right? They're step focused. You do this, and this, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, people don't learn how to think outside the box at that point, right?
Right.
I mean, we have to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way for growth to happen. There's no way for development to happen. There's no way for innovation to happen if we stay in this tunnel and we don't look outside the box. You know, it's just like at work. You know, I've been a carpenter for 31 years. I used to run work. I had 20 guys underneath me, and trying to teach these guys, you know, there's not just one way to do things. There's a multitude of ways.
Yeah.
So you have to think outside the box. You have to figure out a way to do things, you know, productively and what's easiest for you. And the same holds true to many things in life. It you know, just because somebody says you need to do it this way doesn't necessarily mean that's how it's going to work for you. So you have to learn how to think outside the box.
Yeah, I have two thoughts here. I'm like my brain. This is like such a meaty conversation.
So many things we can get into.
So many things. I have two thoughts here. The first is I lost it, but the second one, that's what happens. The second one is one of my creative heroes is the fuck is his name now? You know what? Forget it. It's not meant to be talked about.
Been there, done that.
Yep.
That's like every podcast for me, man. It's like, especially when as soon as you start talking about the thoughts that you have before you start saying them, they're just
Well, gone. I try really hard. One of the things I try to do is be an active listener. So this is like stupid corporate indoctrination that they try to take out of you and really, no, not indoctrination, but sort of like corporate education in that we're really good at
tact or what you're supposed to do, manners, right?
Well,
the
we're
proper
really
way to have a conversation.
We're really good at thinking about what we're going to say next,
right? Instead of focusing on what we're listening to at the time.
Yeah, and I get caught doing that.
The other thing too is as we get older, people say we get rude. Well, it's not that we're trying to be rude. It's that if we don't get this fucking thought out of our mind,
it's going
to be gone. Holy fuck. If I don't say this right now and interrupt you during the middle of your sentence, it's gone.
See, exactly. I carry with me
these awesome.
everywhere.
Pen and paper, Sharpie. It's not. It never gets old. I don't care how technologically advanced we get. I'm going to have pen and paper with me.
Yeah. That's what you just reminded me. The Milton Glaser. Thank you. Milton Glaser is one of my design heroes. It was meant to be talked about because it's relationship to pen and paper. Milton Glaser, he has this video I shared with it a while ago from 2006, and he talks about the way he interacts, or like the primary way that he interacts with the world is through drawing. The way he understands is through drawing, by putting things on paper He's able to conceptualize and do things that are unborrowed from anywhere else. Right? It's coming from your mind to your hand. And these are influenced by the world around us, but it's not copy pasted from the world around us. That's a different, because what's happening is when you're putting something on paper, you are interpreting it through your own experience and then delivering it to this this paper, right? It's a filter that goes through these ideas in our own mind and our body that gets that I think is lost in today's education system. Going back to your writing, my nieces and nephews are not doing cursive writing.
Right.
What a lost art.
Yeah,
Serious.
for sure.
What a lost art.
And then there's that other part that we're visual creatures, right?
Yeah.
So when we have a thought and we put it on paper and we see that thought on paper, it becomes more cemented into our brain, into that CPU, into that storage space that'll help you recover it quicker too.
Yes.
Rather than
it's
just
an
thinking
extension
about it.
of like your mental toolkit, right? I mean, we even talked about that a little bit on the last podcast about, just that connection between seeing something and then just having it be there. And like, it's the same thing for me. It's influenced me a whole lot. And like, Eric, you put it in a way, speaking about your hero there, that like the way he put it, like in a way that I've felt, but have never been able to interpret in that fashion or see it that way. Like when I write stuff down, I mean, there's a difference between writing stuff down to remember it for later, and then actually actively using pen and paper in a, like an organizational fashion, or like I don't know how to put this really, but like taking all the data that's in your head and having another way of organizing that same data so you can kind of utilize that all at once. It's like a computer with no RAM versus a computer with some RAM. You have like this
Fucker walks around with like 15 different notebooks and 10 different pens.
Actually,
and holy shit.
You've seen my fucking laptop case when we go to conventions.
With all the shit that goes through this brain right here, this guy, his brain. Holy fuck. I mean, it's got to be like.
Well, there's a reason they call him the professor, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So there's this joke, right? This comedian talks about men and women, right? And he talks about how men are designed with a brain function, and everything in our brain is in boxes, and we categorize everything and we put it in its own box, right? And we have all different kinds of boxes. We have the tool shop box, we have the car box, right? And then we have the nothing box, where women are designed where everything's a ball of wire and everything's connected to everything, and it's just one big nasty mess, and they can multitask and talk about a million different things, right? One thing a woman cannot do is stare out the window and have nothing in their brain, whereas a guy can totally do that. We have that thing, it's called the nothing box. When they say, what are you thinking about? Nothing. Right? So that categorization of conversation, right? We can take all these different things and compartmentalize it and pick from whatever box we want to discuss, whatever we want to talk about.
Yeah, there's something like Sherlock Holmes calls it his mind palace, where he has a room, and in that room is all the information he ever needs to access. He just needs to go to it for him. Basically, it's talking about the synapses, right, and making those connections. I think that I think I do some of that, but I'm really, really terrible at two things: remembering people's names. I'll know I know you, but I will not know your name, and I'm awful at that. It's just it does not register no matter how many times I will say your name, and it'll probably take a lot of times. It takes me months for like just to remember people. Yeah, but the nothing brain, I would get in trouble all the time before my divorce for thinking.
Overthinking.
See, I'm
maybe underthinking.
I'm very prone to overthinking, because that kind of takes me back. See, this is one of those things like the ADD, overthinking, all that shit. Like I'm right back now to where you're talking about overthinking and this sort of thing. And now where was I going with this topic? Oh yeah. So like coding basically put me there, right? Talking about coding and how you have to think of all the things that users are going to do, like all the stupid shit and all the really cool shit and all the things that you never thought about that your code is going to get used for. So you've got to think of all the ways to like block these things that are happening, or, you know, find new ways to explore this single code block. Like you can do all kinds of things that you didn't realize that you could do with this little bit of data that you had and stuff like that. And so they overthink. But now that was my little tangent about overthinking because it related to code. So let's move on to what were we talking about with overthinking? How the hell did I get there? I don't know. It's gone.
All right. So Eric,
see, that's one of those things. You go through tangent and then the whole thought.
We've had this amazing podcast. We've had this amazing conversation. Oh my God, this has been incredible. But I still don't understand what second realm is.
Sure.
So if you could like lay it on us, tell us what second realm is and what it does, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so it's evolved over the years. Second realm has been with me for 30 years. The original concept was that it was going to be my art gallery. So I was thinking about this at like 12 or 13. The reason for the term second realm is that I was always I was always an introvert living in my mind for a lot of my life. And I always felt like there were two worlds. There was the world I was watching happen in front of me and sort of like floating through. And then the second realm, the world that I was actually living inside, the world of severe anxiety, the world of severe depression that I kept sheltered and hidden from a lot of people. And I called that my second realm. And my second realm became the way to describe for myself how I interacted with the world before I understood and got help 37 years later for anxiety and depression. And I've been in therapy for full-time 2 years every week. And then I have two therapists. One's a somatic sex educator. So like I've really dove deep into my own therapeutic experience. But I'm a naturally introverted human. And so it took me a long time to learn how to be this, to have a conversation here, to share my experience and be honest about it. So the second realm is that it is the way that I interpret the world. And so now it has become an extension of me as an artist. It became my pseudonym. Originally it was anonymous. I was like, oh, let me just sort of use second realm for the crypto space, not realizing that I would eventually get back into art that I was always kind of passionate about, but secretly afraid to dive into. And then, you know, really a perfect storm of like getting on meds and feeling confident and having this world in which both tech and art and the humanities and like storytelling and all this great stuff can happen in a single, and collecting. Like I was a baseball card collector my whole life, right? Having this world sort of like open up to me. Now, at first, second realm was the way I interpret the world silently. Now it's the way I interpret the world loudly. And I share my shit loud and proud.
I love it. I love it. So
dude, I'm so glad you asked that question.
Real quick, you know, let's talk about depression. And the reason I want to touch on this subject is because I think it is something that everybody in today's society, everybody in today's world has to deal with in one regard or another.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have, it runs in my family. On the men's side of my family, depression is a thing. I fought it for many years, and finally I just said, you know what, fuck it, I can't do this. I got to a breaking point. I went to the doctor and I was literally in tears, and I said, help me. I can't do this on my own. And
I gotta pause you because I just got goosebumps. No, honestly, I just got goosebumps and chills. Thank you for sharing that, because it is hard for men into today's society, I think, to be that open and emotional about it. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I really just wanted to.
I've always been one to wear my. No, thank you for that. I've always been one to wear my heart on my sleeve. I've never been one to hold back because I want people to like me for all of me, not just from what's on the facade.
Yes.
And, you know, so I guess where I was going with that is that we get to a point where you realize it's not you, it's not a weakness, it's not something that you're doing wrong. Sometimes it's as simple as a chemical imbalance in your body that you need help with. And when we continue to fight on our own, that's when we start to lose these battles. So, you know, for everybody out there that is struggling to a degree with depression, talk to your friends, talk to people that actually care about you, and seek, you know, talk to your medical practitioner and say, hey, you know, start me out on a small dosage or something, you know, something that's not really going to fuck me up, but it's going to help balance this thing. And, you know, it can be severe, depression can be. And, you know, my DMs are always open for anybody that follows me on Twitter. My DMs are always open. I'm a very positive person. I want to lift everyone up. That's just how I am. This has kind of got on a tangent here, but I think it's an important topic. And I think it's important for everyone to understand you're not weak. This isn't something that can always be handled on your own. And if you anything in life, if you do anything in life by yourself, you're only going to accomplish this. But if you include people that care about you, if you network and you get other people, there's strength in numbers, people. And when you get people that are on your side that support you, there's nothing that you can't do. So, all right, I'm done with that tangent. I'm sorry about that, but
let me say this. I don't think it's a tangent because it's completely relevant to my work. The Brutalist Mannequin series is one of those series that I put my heart and soul into, and I shared my anxiety and depression through the story I was telling and through the way in which I created the art. You know, I've told my story many times over and over again, and I'll continue to do it. I thought I was broke. I thought that I was broke. I didn't like, I don't mean like financially broke. I mean like
physically broke, like mentally broke. You're broken.
It's like a human. I didn't fit into this world. I didn't understand why. I didn't understand why kids could go through high school and survive the day. Meanwhile, I was so exhausted just from walking through the door. Or my last mental breakdown, which was the worst, was a 6-month mental breakdown that started in February of 19. And it culminated in many things, which ended up being leaving my job in tech and my marriage collapsing for many reasons. But it was the culmination of it all. And I'm the happiest I have ever been because I got the help. And I sought the help I needed, even at the, you know, I don't even want to get that go there. But basically, there were people in my life who didn't support that kind of help, seeking that kind of help, and I had to push through that because that would have been a deterrent for me. Sure. I was in such a bad emotional state that I couldn't even walk through the doors at Twitter without feeling like I was walking through molasses and I was hearing everyone talk in a wah-wah voice. And all I could do was literally find a booth and hide to make sure that nobody would bother me. Like that's the state of like anxiety. And then because of that would flip between like these polar states of anxiety and depression. Why am I this way? Oh my God. And then it would just be degress, and it was just awful. I finally got the help, and you know, lots of change in my life, but I owe it all to really honestly, I owe it all to myself being able to be brave enough to challenge what you know we grew up in, which was you don't talk to the quack, right? You don't get help, you don't tell anybody, you don't share. Yeah, you don't share your story. Like I shared my depression and anxiety story with my friends and family on Facebook, and I've got so many private messages from people telling me that they were suffering from the same thing. We are in this together, which is basically what
Absolutely.
you were talking about. And I just want to echo the same thing. My DMs are always open. Just hit me up.
Right on. Right on. No, Eric, it, and that's just it. You know, we're taught that along the way. We're taught that you're weak if you cry. You're weak if you
Yeah.
need help, right? You're a man. You should be able to get through life with
Yeah.
no problems. Or you're a woman and you're going to need a man to get you through life. I mean,
Mhm.
we're indoctrinated into this thing that people need to step out of, and we can't do shit alone. The people, humanity is made, we're pack creatures. We're supposed to be in groups. We're supposed to be together with other humans. That's how people are. And when we separate ourselves, when we isolate ourselves, and we start to intrude, you know, bring ourselves in, it doesn't help us grow, and it actually stagnates and can bring you in the opposite direction. So, you know, every day I wake up, and the first thing I do is I put out a tweet on Twitter. I try to every day, a positive tweet, right? To lift anybody up throughout the day, you know, to give them a little bit of boost in the morning. And I think the reason I do that is not so much just to help everyone else, but it helps me.
Yeah.
Because when you have a mindset, when you think positive thoughts, positivity affects you. Positivity engulfs your life. And when you think negatively, that's all you see is the negative shit. So by putting that out, by being that positive force in the morning, helps me get through the day.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that little bit of selfishness in it. And oh my God, I
Yeah.
need another beer. This
So
podcast has been amazing.
we're
Seriously, dude. Yeah, kidding.
humans are this is one of the things that I love to remind everybody. We're inherently selfish, and that's okay. Like we're going through this world as single beings interacting with others, but we need to act within the best interests of our own selves,
Yeah.
right? Now, whether or not that crosses ethics or morals, that's a whole philosophical debate that I don't feel like getting into, right? Because there are boundaries there that some people subscribe to that don't.
Sure.
You know, I forgot where my tangent was going, but that's what happens.
No, I think there's a lot to be said about putting others on a pedestal, but still maintaining care for yourself,
Now I
right?
remember what you're talking about. Yes.
And you know, putting other people on pedestals is okay. Lifting everyone up, right? It's
Yeah.
and then there's this saying I've thrown out on Twitter a few times. It's not how far up the ladder we get and how fast we get up there, but how many we pull up with us. That's
Oh,
what really
yeah.
matters. That's what
Absolutely.
how you succeed in life. It's not how
Yep.
high up the ladder you get.
I
It's how
start
many you bring in with you.
I start my day with a gratitude exercise. Two of them actually. One is when I walk the dog, which you may have seen. Is I start the day and I start doing like I just say thank you 100, 150, 200 times. Because how many times do we actually say thank you to the world, thank you to the people, thank you to anybody around us? And then the other thing that I do after there's a corner I turn, it's just become my routine. I start thinking to myself, I am so happy and grateful for, and I just try to name and think about all the big and small things I'm grateful for, like my car. Sometimes I'm like, I'm really grateful for my car. I paid it off. It is a 2014. I don't have to worry. It's in good shit. We're like, start
Right.
thinking, and that's just like a small. Then you start thinking about your family, and you start thinking about your friends, and maybe you start thinking about what the idea is for me to start the day with that kind of energy where now I'm going into it having this immense amount of like gratitude for the things I already have.
But that's
And
a positive energy, right? And it's
yeah,
a positive mindset in the morning.
yeah.
You don't wake up and go, oh fuck, I gotta get through this day.
I used to.
This is gonna kick my ass. Right.
Oh, I used to.
We've all done it.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yep.
does. You wake up
Yeah.
Monday morning. Oh
Fuck,
it's Monday.
fuck waking
Jesus.
up. I would go to sleep.
Oh, right.
Seriously,
Dreading on Monday. I go to sleep on Sunday, dreading
Yeah.
tomorrow's fucking Monday. Jesus
You mean
Christ, I gotta
Friday?
do this
Go to sleep on Friday, dreading Monday. Fucking A.
Yes, yes.
You know, but when you wake up in the morning and you start it off with a positive thought, with a positive note, I mean, let's face it, if you're vertical, you have food in your refrigerator, you have water that you can ingest, and you have a roof and clothes over your on your body and over your head, you have blessings beyond belief.
Yep. 100%.
Just that alone. And then add people that care about you, that like to hear and listen to what you have to say.
I'm so lucky that I have such a huge family. I grew up with this family, and I didn't realize, I thought everybody in the world was this way. We literally, like, if I can basically illustrate what a random Tuesday night dinner at my mother's house might be, 20 people, and that is just our immediate family. That's my mother and her sisters and all my cousins.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's a normal occurrence. But I grew up this way, thinking that everybody had that in the world. Naive as a young kid, and it wasn't until, sadly, that when I went to college and started being introduced to all different kinds of people, that I recognized just how lucky I had been to have those kind of people in my life. I call it circling the wagons. When shit goes down, it doesn't matter what kind of internal conflict is going on, we circle the wagons. Not everybody has that.
Right. Kind of like Reba McEntire says, there's life out there. Get out there.
You got to bring a little Reba reference in.
That's right. You got to bring a little Reba into it.
Little Reba.
Oh,
little
my
Reba
goodness.
do you good. All
Professor,
right.
you got a last question for the
Yeah,
night?
let's dig into a really old one that we haven't asked in quite a while. Not even a general kind of one like this in quite a while. So
nice.
If you could replace your left elbow with any household object, what would it be and why?
Like any household object?
Any household object. Doesn't have to be even a stereotypically household object. If you've got it in your house, it counts.
Yeah. No, it's a hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would do some jujitsu and destroy people.
Let that hammer drop.
Is it retractable?
I imagine that it's just like the hammerhead on my elbow.
Oh, nice. Okay, so what kind of hammerhead are we talking? Like your standard, like
titanium
hammer,
standard, yeah.
hammer?
Titanium.
No, standard with the claw, a standard claw hammer.
Framing claw.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
perfect. It's super functional too. I mean, you can open beers with it, you can
right?
nails with it. You can
right. But it's fun. It's funny how I went straight to jiu-jitsu. I was like, I could beat people up with it.
Yeah. Hey, you got to do that a little bit once in a while. Yeah. Right. Only if there's a good reason for it.
Get that aggression out. Oh my God, Eric, kitties. This has been an amazing, deep, light, everything involved conversation. I've really enjoyed, and I'm sure the professor has too. We really enjoyed your conversation today.
Thank you for having me on.
Fun podcast, and we definitely want to do this again with you, sir. This is crazy.
This definitely won't be the last. That's
and the professor is no longer the bane of my existence on NFT Twitter.
All right, cool.
Success.
That's good.
I'm still not going to unpin the tweet.
No, it's
somebody that's fell down the rabbit hole for the NFTs. This guy here takes the icing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the NFTs are purely, well, I shouldn't say purely. I mean, NFTs and homeschooled children now for a while because of COVID and extra shit at work are also partially to blame, but primarily NFTs are to blame for how long and infrequent releases have been with so many recordings happening in the midst.
That's all right. But that's all right. You know what? We're catching up.
Tease it a little bit. Do it. Hold on. This the CCMSN NFTM. I don't fucking know. There's a lot of letters. The Crypto Campfire Midsummer Nights NFT Marathon.
Oh my God.
What?
Crypto Campfire Midsummer Nights NFT Marathon. This is gonna be off the
hook. we got some episodes that we've been hanging on to since summer of 2020 up to I think January or February of this year that we've kind of picked a few from to pull into this huge marathon that are just about to be released. And maybe we tease a couple names like Money Alata and Daniel Pan, the man, and we'll just leave it there. Maybe one that starts with an O that you guys might guess, but
all right, guys. Thank you so much.
2 weeks out.
Thank you so much for watching the show. We hope you enjoyed it tonight. This was an amazing conversation. This guy is incredible. Eric, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, if it wasn't for the audience, excuse me, if it wasn't for the listeners, we wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for our community. So thank you all for your support and continuing to find interest in what we provide you. And we hope to keep it live and uplifting. So
Oh,
until
yes.
next time, guys, you have yourselves a great day.
Take it easy.
Peace. Oh, that was awesome.
Thank you so much. That was
Absolutely
a lot of
incredible,
fun.
sir.